Next, we would like to take you through some common terminology used by investors. Here you can see the common terms which we will cover in the next few slides, together with some examples. Let's start with terms related to the company value. Pre-money valuation refers to the company value before investment, while post-money valuation is the pre-money valuation plus the investment amount. For example, if a company has a pre-money valuation of 3 million, it raises 1 million, its post-money valuation is 4 million. This is relevant because these values determine the share percentage of the shareholders. In this example, we take a typical 80 to 20% division between the founders and T&O before the investment. Then after the 1 million investment, this becomes 25% for the investors, as the investor is responsible of 1 million out of 4 million. The other shareholders dilute this 25% of their previous share, ending up with respectively 15 and 16% of the shares. Now you might remember that we mentioned a solution to unwanted shareholders at the table, unwanted specifically by later stage investors. A solution to this is the STAK, which stands for Stichting Administratiekantoor, or Foundation for Administration Office. Often, startups are unable to offer competitive salaries to key personnel, but these individuals are vital to the success of the company. In such cases, startups may want to offer employees a stake in the company as a form of compensation. It can also be that you want to raise money with small investors like friends and family. And this can lead to a complex ownership structure with many shareholders. And to avoid this, startups can establish a STAK, which becomes the direct shareholder of the company, representing the aforementioned shareholders that are now members of the STAK. Here you can see a full overview of all shareholders of Example BV founded by me and Camilla. And you see that the STAK is one of the shareholders in our BV, and the smaller investors and personnel are shareholders in the STAK. A typical STAK represents 10 to 15% of the total shares of the company, and it can have a significant positive impact on the capitalization table, or cap table in short. We just showed you a schematic overview of all involved shareholders. You can put that into a table that looks like this, a cap table. It's a different representation of who owns how many shares and how that affects the control over the company. Cap tables can become very complex, especially when different types of shares are involved. This example of the cap table shows the impact of an investment. The founding common column shows the status before the investment. The Series A preferred column shows how many new preferred shares are issued to the investor. The right part shows the situation after the new investment and the amount of shares everyone is left with. There's also something like a SAR, meaning stock appreciation right. This is, however, too technical for this video, so we will deal with that separately in the topic Employee Incentive Plan. In our simplified cap table, you might have noticed the founding round consisting out of common shares and Series A round where preference shares are issued. So what's that about? Well, when a VC invests in a company, it usually is not aiming for a majority share, but more in the area of 15 to 30%. That means that the VC has a minority vote in the control of the company. This brings additional risks to the investment, as the common shares might decide to undertake future actions that can negatively impact the investment of the venture capital. Hence, the preference shares have additional rights. Again, this is too technical to go into depth within this video, so we will deal with that separately. Two things we will mention here that often come to preference shares. One, they usually have a veto right on specific decisions in your company, and two, on exit of the company, the proceeds are first paid to the preference shares and what's left goes to the common shares.